Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, The Real Super Sam. This is a special complete history of video and I hope you enjoy. 3 years ago today I started my series on the complete history of. Even longer ago I made my first forgotten Spider-Man Rogues video, which was on the Human Fly. Yes, this character was the first forgotten Spider-Man Rogue I made a video about, and now for an important date today I'm making a complete history of video on him. I did one on another forgotten villain, the Grizzly, but the Human Fly is much more evil. I haven't given this guy enough credit. He's actually pretty entertaining. He has some great feats throughout Marvel Comics. And he's another villain with some connection, well, be it a small one, to J. Jonah Jameson. Let's get started on The Human Fly. The Human Fly premiered in The Amazing Spider-Man Annual 10, January 1976. One night, notorious criminal Richard Deacon is holding people ransom, surrounded by cops. Only one person can help. Spider-Man. He webs his last hostage to safety and Deacon is left vulnerable. Enough to get shot off the docks, apparently to his death. The next night, Deacon walks into the lab of Dr. Harlan Stillwell, the brother of the man who created the Scorpion, and forcefully volunteers to be the test dummy for the new experiment Jameson has hired Stillwell to do to kill Spider-Man. The experiment has to do with combining a man into a fly, so he has all the powers of a fly. That is how Deacon became the supervillain, the Human Fly. To get revenge on Spider-Man, the Human Fly kidnaps J. Jonah Jameson so the Daily Bugle will alert Spider-Man to a fight. Since Peter Parker was right there, and he secretly is Spider-Man, he soon confronts the Human Fly. In a battle, the Human Fly reveals that he can see 360 degrees all around his head because of his powers. He's also very fast and is said to be twice as strong as Spider-Man, giving him a good whooping in the start. The persistence of this little fly drives Spider-Man mad, and he wallops him across the spider's web and captures him, ending the Human Fly's first tale. The Human Fly was next in The Amazing Spider-Man issues 192 and 193, May and June 1979. The Human Fly is back and committing simple robberies for cash, and no mere man can stop him. While flying around, he spots Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson handcuffed to each other, long story, and attacks the two people he hates the most. He still has his powers here, and Spider-Man is a little tired, plus he has Jameson's weight slowing him down, so the Human Fly dodges Spider-Man's punches with the fact he can see in all around directions for him at all times. This time, the Human Fly actually beats Spider-Man and knocks him out. Being happy and victorious, he throws Spidey and Jameson off the roof. Spider-Man can't slow down the fall in time, leading to a hurting crash, with the Human Fly thinking Spider-Man is dead as he goes off into the stormy night. In the next issue, Spider-Man interrupts him on a crime spree, flying in the air with him and mocking the guy's flight. Well, tonight's not the night as he spocks Spider-Man back into a building, letting him fly away. Yep, 2 times in a row the Human Fly beat Spider-Man. Later, Spider-Man searches the city for the Human Fly, but finds him on the ground handcuffed by the cops. They, off-page, manage to stop Human Fly with a new gizmo they got from S.H.I.E.L.D. Human Fly fought Spider-Woman in Spider-Woman issue 30. One day, Spider-Woman is attacked by the Human Fly as he busts into a cryogenics lab and fights Spider-Woman, who, surprisingly to him, was there coincidentally. What's up with the Fly is his superpowers are fading. To restore them, a doctor says that a blood transfusion from Spider-Woman would save him. He equips the Fly with a device to resist her venom stings and sends him on a rampage to attract Spider-Woman's attention. While doing that, he finds that he's almost winded just by being on the offense against Spider-Woman. And yeah, his plan is to get Spider-Woman to hit him with her venom blasts, and after she does that, he leaves. After doing a test, it seems like Spider-Woman has some regenerative properties in her blood, and that her transfusion is absolutely necessary for the Human Fly. To get her to the lab, Fly kidnaps the guy, Scotty, in the cryotube. Spider-Woman finds him and fights. And yes, the fight is fun, and she easily defeats him. On October 8, 1983, the Human Fly made his first and only cartoon appearance in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends episode 20, called Attack of the Arachnoid. This is his only appearance, non-speaking, just as an Easter egg, being held in a prison. And yeah, this really is his only appearance in media to date. Next, he was in Moon Knight issue 35, January 1984. Tonight, the Human Fly is robbing skyscraper penthouses until Moon Knight shows up and tries to stop him. And fails, falls for the main 2 fly tricks, not one of Moon Knight's best nights. Yep, Human Fly got away in that issue, and next he was in the Spectacular Spider-Man issue 86, which was in January 1984. Today, the Human Fly is back in New York and goes after a garbage barge to eat the garbage, just like a real fly would. Richard is beginning to lose his grip on his human origins and acts more and more like a fly. And now he definitely wants revenge for being turned into a freak, and he blames J. Jonah Jameson, which, this instance, I wouldn't say it was Jameson's fault. Unlike Scorpion, who was offered money and knew most everything that was going to happen, the Fly made Dr. Stillwell experiment on him without Jameson's knowledge with a gun. Anyway, while he's threatening JJ, he sees garbage and is distracted by it, diving down to eat it. That's when Spider-Man and Black Cat come into the Bugle to stop the human Fly. And yeah, this mutation has really messed Richard Deacon up, making him pretty silly here. Fly gets webbed up and Spider-Man leaves, telling Jameson to see to it that Fly gets turned back to normal. Then he was in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 276. After that last issue, the human Fly was in a psychiatric center for the criminally insane, but tonight he broke out. Yes, the human Fly is free, and without his costume, we see how mutated Richard Deacon really is. The Fly tonight is searching for Spider-Man. Then he sees garbage and is again distracted, and the garbage man who is secretly Scourge of the Underworld murders Deacon, causing him to land in a dumpster. Next, something with human Fly was in Captain America 320. It just says, yep, it was a Scourge of the Underworld who killed the human Fly. The next thing for the guy was in this one comic called Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe. Human Fly is dead. We see that he's dead. Let's move on. There was a version of Fly for one issue in Spider-Girl issue 18. He's referenced when Spider-Girl asks her dad, Peter Parker, on if there was any flying villains he fought back in the day. And he didn't return until over 20 years later in July 2009 in Punisher Volume 8 issues 5, and he was in the series until issue 9. The original version of Fly was resurrected by the Hood along with many other supervillains killed by Scourge, using the powers of Dormammu and Robin's plan to kill the Punisher. At first, Fly is hesitant and doesn't want to spend a second chance at life going after the Punisher of all people, but the Hood tells him that his spell is only for 30 days and only he can extend it. We next see Fly eating meat, saying he has to acquire its taste, otherwise he'll have to eat garbage again. We zoom out and see he's killed this girl named Tina and then freaks out about it as if he wasn't in control. That's when the cops arrive to stop him, but he's gained acidic vomit as well as more resilient wings as a result of an advanced mutation, killing them all. That's when the Punisher shows up to take care of Fly. On the defense, he tells a story about a scorpion that asked a frog to carry him across the river. Then the scorpion stings the frog and they both drown. The scorpion did it because it's in his nature, and that's when the acid vomits all over the dead girl and Punisher wails on him. The fight ends with Punisher falling out of the building with the Fly, severely injuring him. July 2010, he was in Web of Spider-Man Volume 2, Issue 10. It is a one-panel reference of the villains Jameson has helped create, and one was the human Fly. He returned in Venom Volume 2, Issue 5. The human Fly is still alive and still going after people to seemingly eat. That's where Venom, Flash Thompson, when he was Venom, Agent Venom, shows up to arrest Fly. They fight in a church bell tower, which weakens the symbiote a bit, while Fly keeps spewing acid at him. In a huge destruction scene, the Fly gets crushed by the bell from the church tower and webbed up. Next in the series, he was in issues 16 and 17. In prison, the human Fly is talking to Venom about how he stole money from the Kingpin. He did it to give his son a future. He asks Venom to protect him to save his boy from Fisk. The assassin who's after him is the fourth Hobgoblin, and the Fly and Venom fight him on a moving train, the holding cell place the Fly was in to be transferred to. So the Hobgoblin actually gets injured while fighting Fly, as he has his acid breath and can fly too. Unbelievably, the Fly gets an upper hand and bites in the Hobgoblin's neck, sending a warning to the Kingpin. In the end, Agent Venom has a choice to stop the human Fly or save a civilian. He lets Fly go after he promises to turn himself back in after he saves his son. The last thing shows that the human Fly was lying about having a kid the whole time. In the next issue, the human Fly joins the Crime Masters Savage 6 in exchange for protection. Agent Venom then tries to snipe one of the 6, but it all leads to 1 versus 6 fight and Venom losing. He was again in the Savage 6 in issues 19 and 20. Yep, later Fly kidnaps Flash's mom. He took her, didn't kill her though, and Agent Venom still interrogates him about Crime Master and rips off his wings. He was then in issue 22. Here, he was just an Easter egg being shown to be all locked up. The human Fly returned in Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue 3, September 2013. He is seen in the background as the rogue Mirage tells the story of how the Hood brought him and others back to life. He was in issue 12 also. He is part of a new supervillain group formed by the Owl called the Sinister 16. Next, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, issue 23, March 2015. He is seen in a flashback to Venom fighting the Fly. Next, he was in this series Illuminati, issue 2. And once again, he is seen as an Easter egg. Fly was in All New All Different Avengers, issue 8. He's committing chaos with other villains and gets stopped by Vision. He's in his original costume again too. The Human Fly next appeared in his only video game appearance today in LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, which came out November 14th, 2017. He was part of the Ant-Man and the Wasp DLC. In the game, he can fly, shoot out acid balls from his mouth. When he runs, he basically hovers thanks to his wings. He's looking in his classic suit from Amazing Spider-Man comics, and since we have just gone through his whole history before this point, him being in the Ant-Man and Wasp DLC as a character doesn't really make sense before this. He literally never fought Ant-Man or the Wasp. My little fun theory is because of my Forgotten Spider-Man Rogue video, him being my first one got him enough attention for him to be a character in this game, even as DLC. Most likely I'm wrong, but for fun, I'm just joking that it was my fault. I'll take credit for this. Anyway, next he was in Champions Volume 2, issue 19. It seems like Human Fly and Scorpia are in a relationship, committing crimes together until Miles Morales' Spider-Man defeats them. He was seen for a second in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, issue 19. Human Fly is seen here for a panel without his costume. Next, he was in Symbiote Spider-Man number 1. In the past, apparently, Spider-Man fought the Human Fly again, and with his strength enhanced with the symbiote, Human Fly was out of his league. He was seen in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, issue 23. Here, he's in one panel and in costume, even though in issue 19 he didn't have his costume. Anyway, he says not to get weird, and to me that's humorous since this is the guy who barfs acid and eats people. And you guys may already know what I'm about to say. He was also another villain in Absolute Carnage vs. Deadpool issue 1. In a giant 2-page artwork, one unique thing here is he has green skin in this art page. For today, the Human Fly's last appearance to date was in Savage Avengers issue 14, January 2021. He is at a bar drinking, no lines, just as a cameo. And that was everything about anything with the Human Fly up to July 2021. From the start, the Human Fly is confusing. Professor Harlan Stillwell thinking, yes, they fly to defeat a spider, like Spider-Man eats, or it's not Spider-Man, but an actual animal spider eats flies daily. Why would that be a good idea? At least a scorpion made sense, a fly doesn't. While making this video, I almost said Killer Moth a few times. I don't know why, he kinda reminds me of him. The highlight for the Human Fly in his early issues is his fantastic fight scenes. I really did like how they changed him in the future, and they made him a little bit more smart and cunning and very mature. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.